Hi folks, it's Mike here again, and we're out for another ride on a bit of a grey day today. Heading up the A12, heading north on the main A12, which is the main route out of Ipswich, heading up towards Yarmouth way. Heading off to see a friend and help them out with their sat nav and get to grips with the software on their PC. You'll notice today we're using a different camera mount. I obtained a mount off eBay, where everybody gets all their bits and pieces. This one, say it quietly, was meant for a GS, but it fits the Triumph Explorer as well. So it's mounted on the left hand side of the bike, just above the indicator. Main use of this will be for filming other people when I take associates out for the IAM, so I can give them a copy of their riding. It's quite useful for them to actually see what they're doing, as well as just hear somebody explain to them what they're doing. So the intention today on the A12 is just to have a look at the different types of road that actually make up the A12. We've got dual carriageways, bits through small villages, and numerous speed limit changes. So we'll try and point those out as we go along and count those up. So today we're heading up as far as Saxmundham, about a 30-minute ride, something like that, and we'll see what happens in the edit. So those of you who watched the roundabout videos that I did will recognise this. This is the approach to the main A12 roundabout at Vauxhall Road coming out of Ipswich. And we're going to be turning left and then heading north. So as I mentioned before, we're coming off a national speed limit road here, which is 60 mile an hour, and we're going on to a national speed limit dual carriageway, but there's no signs to say that the speed limit has changed, but we're going from 60 mile an hour to a 70 mile an hour road. One of the differences with this camera mount is obviously you can't see where I'm looking, you can just only see straight ahead. So immediately we've got a car in the outside lane here doing about 65 mile an hour, probably going to turn right in towards BT. They like to get in the lane really early. So I'm just going to hold out here because of the white vans in the left hand lane. A motorcycle approaching from the rear. And again, we're going to use lane 2, queuing traffic in lane 1. Just watching the traffic that's on the roundabout. Large lorry coming from my right. Have to be extra careful on that roundabout as it's just outside a garage. Quite often spilt diesel, fuel, making it a bit slippery. So we're now in a 50 mile an hour limit, still dual carriageway, but restricted to 50 mile an hour. And we're coming to the traffic lights and the vehicles are queuing at the red light. So we're going to carry on straight and head up the A12, heading north as painted on the road here. Just watching the vehicles coming from behind, they're slowing. So just getting ahead of the lorry here. Quite wide lanes, so it's unlikely he's going to cut across us. And again, speed limit change now up to national speed limit again. So 70 mile an hour if it's safe to do so. And it is. If you hear any pings and pongs today while I'm riding along, I've actually got the sat-nav mounted on the bike today, and it notifies me of upcoming speed limit changes. But not always, so you can't overly rely on it. So looking into the distance, we've got the roundabout that heads off to Woodbridge. Vehicles seem to be flowing into it quite nicely at the moment. Sometimes we get long queues here, but not today. It's just easing a little as we approach, bringing the speed down gently, looking at the vehicle behind us, making sure that he's slowing as well. Note there the sign that says slippery road surface. So possibly there's been something spilt, or yeah, it looks like there's remnants of sand here, so I suspect there's been some diesel spilt and they've mopped it up. So as we come off the roundabout here, it goes back into the dual carriageway. Still national speed limit, just watching the silver van. So we can pass quite a few vehicles going up here. And ahead the road comes down, returns to a 2-lane carriageway. So obviously the speed limit changes back to 60 mile an hour. At the moment we're going along here about 40. There's been a lot of roadworks along here just recently, so it's quite possible there's still some more ahead. So we've got a 3-bar marker here for the upcoming roundabout. Sign saying where the roads go to. We're heading straight, and now we've got to change to a 40 mile an hour limit. So just checking mirrors, nothing behind us at the moment. Deciding which lane we're going to use. At the moment, quite happy to continue using lane 1. White car coming in from the right. And we just follow him out of the roundabout. So a petrol station on the left, just mindful of vehicles that may be exiting from there. And this stretch of the A12, 40 mile an hour at the moment. There's lots of premises along here, a pedestrian crossing ahead. There's a school on the other side of the road as well. And there's a bit of a blind junction up here on the left hand side. As you can see, lots of people don't take any notice of what the limit is in any case. So another change of limit here, up to 50. Just watching the silver vehicle that obviously wants to turn right but can't get out because of the BMW. Just holding back from this lorry a little bit, give myself some time to assess what's going on the roundabout. No vehicles coming in, so I can go straight through. Making sure the white vehicle, although he's indicating he's definitely going right. So now we're on to a single carriageway here, 2 lanes of traffic, 60 mile an hour road, large cross-hatching centre down the centre of the road here, which used to be the old suicide lane many years ago. but that's been hatched out for a long time. So we've got a junction on the left hand side here. Just move over a little towards the left here so we can see if there's any vehicles, and also if there is any, they can get a view of us. And the traffic is flowing along quite nicely here. Indicated 56, 57 on my speedo. Just keeping my distance from the lorry ahead. There's a junction coming up on the left hand side. Just looking to see if any of these vehicles are likely to exit, slow to exit, or anybody waiting to come out. So ahead I can see the signs for dual carriageway. So again, speed limit will change from national speed limit 60 to national speed limit 70. Checking my mirrors, seeing what the vehicles behind are doing. And I can go just watching the lorry braking. This hole back here, why is he, what's he up to? So if in doubt, just reassess the situation, see what's going on. He was closing up on the white car, which wasn't accelerating very quickly, but it wasn't going slow enough for him to do the overtake. Much better to wait and assess the situation than rush into it. So we're closing on the white van ahead. I've got a vehicle approaching from the rear. But it's far enough back for me to be able to ease out into lane 2. So we've just gone past the slip road that goes into Wickham Market, and usually what happens when you have one slip road going off, there's going to be another slip road coming off, which there is in this case. I've moved back into lane 1 at the moment because the vehicle behind was pushing. So yes, going back to the slip roads there, often after an off slip road there's an on slip road, so quite often you can stay out in lane 2 to avoid encroaching onto the vehicles joining the dual carriageway, give them a chance to get on. So ahead we've got a tractor with the hazard lights on, mirror checks and shoulder check. Get out nice and early, just watch what's going on with the lay-by on the left hand side that nobody else is pulling out as well. So this stretch of the dual carriageway, not too bad today. Several vehicles about, but not heavily congested at all. Those of you living in other parts of the country will laugh when we talk about heavily congested. This is Suffolk. The roads don't really get that heavily congested. Just watching the vehicle coming up from behind who's going to exit on this slip road. Obviously 70 miles an hour isn't fast enough for him. So looking into the distance again, we've had the off slip road, we've got an on slip road ahead, just watching what's going on. We've also got the fact that the dual carriageway is going to end now, denoted by the signs. Just looking across to my left here, see if there's any vehicles coming out from behind the hedges. and just easing my speed down. So as the dual carriageway ends, we're back down to 60 mile an hour. And then we have another speed limit change, this time to 40. So back to single carriageway road. A bit narrower than the other pieces that we've been on so far. Drop the bike down into fifth just to go down this slight hill here. Just so it doesn't run away from us. And all the time we're just looking ahead, seeing what's going on, looking at the signs. Farm shop on the right hand side, junction on the left. Lots of these signs now saying that the road studs have been removed, and unfortunately in a lot of places they're not replacing them. So we're just trundling through here at the 40 mile an hour limit. Nothing ahead of us, plenty of space on the road. No need to be right up to the white line here. Position 3, or the wheel tracks of vehicles. Plenty for what we're doing. Just looking at the dark mark down the centre of the road there. Is it oil, diesel, or just general muck from the cars? And the sat nav has just pinged just a walk, and there it is, 30 mile an hour for the village of Little Glenham. So again, I'm going to take another lower gear just to hold the bike back so it doesn't run away down the slope here. It's very easy if you keep in a high gear for the bike to just pick up speed and you not notice, and next thing you know you're doing 35, 36 in a 30 limit. So one of the many little villages that there are on the A12 heading north. So another speed limit change now as we come out of the village, back up to 50 mile an hour. Still have a double white line down the centre of the road. Generally they've been placed there because of hazards, prevent overtaking. So if there is a double white line system down the road, then exercise extra caution. Got crossroads ahead here which you can't see into very well. Go through in the centre of the road here, and then drop back over to the left hand side for the right hand bend. Look, I can see across the fields here lots of lorries coming in from the right hand side. Again, we're position 1. Again, wheel tracks of the vehicle. Don't need to be extreme on this sort of road. And then looking ahead, we can see there's some road signs with a yellow backing board, which they usually add those when people have missed the signs lots of times. So we've got a staggered junction and warning of cyclists. And we're coming into another village, this time 30 mile an hour for Stratford St Andrew. So as generally with 30 mile an hour around town through the villages, we can use position 2, 2.5. We can easily stop in the distance, we can see to be clear. Obviously if there's a benefit to move into an extreme position because of parked vehicles or a particular junction, then we do that, but generally there's no need to keep hopping about too much. So just watching the entrance here to the garage, and then I will ease over a little to the left here for the right hand bend. We've got a junction on the left, but it's completely empty. And again, double white line system continues through the village here. Sadly, it's been put in place to stop the people who tend to use the 30 limit as an opportunity to overtake other vehicles. So we've got reduced speed for this, and a flashing sign there. Don't know whether it came up on the camera or not. Got quite a tight bend here. Local knowledge tells me that obviously that the lorries, especially the large HGVs, find it very difficult to get around that corner. And despite the double white lines there in the middle, may encroach onto your side of the road a little. So another speed limit change, 50 mile an hour again. 50 slowly becoming the new national speed limit in a lot of places. And then looking ahead, we're going to join the dual carriageway here towards Saxmundham. However, we are still in a 50 mile an hour limit. As you see, there's repeater signs here, still keeping the 50 mile an hour limit through this quite dangerous junction. There's lots of accidents here. So the national speed limit sign here actually means that we can now go back up to 70 mile an hour on the dual carriageway. And we'll head towards Saxmundham, which is where I'm going to see my friend. So hope you found it useful. If you enjoyed the video, let me have some comments and let me know what you have thought of the different location of the camera. And until next time, this is Mike saying be safe.